All right. Jesse, thanks for being with me. My name's Charlie, and this is for all the Caya Shobo community out there. I'm a facilitator at the center. And Jesse was down there during the January retreat. I was lucky enough to spend 2 weeks with him. And yeah, I just got some questions for you, Jesse, if you're willing to chat.
Do it.
Also, if you want to give yourself a little bit more of an introduction, feel free.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I am Jesse Cusick. I'm from the Boston area. Born and bred New Englander here in the States. I'm an engineer professionally, and into kind of a curious person, into a lot of things, and kind of been on my own sort of healing journey through a lot of things, a lot of sort of more traditional means, talk therapy and that sort of thing. But I've had sort of a curiosity and a call towards, ayahuasca in particular, and as I've come to learn plant medicine more generally, and had, a really amazing experience down there in January. So definitely happy to share.
Awesome. Well, the first question was, how was your time at Caya Shobo?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the headline. I generally kind of said, and it's for sure true, that it was like really the best experience of my life. It's no magic bullet or magic cure, but it's a really, it's amazing. It's an amazing process for self-discovery is really the best way I can put it. And, if I went there looking for something ethereally, I definitely got it. I got what I went there for. And it was up and it was down and it was intense. And it was, there was a lot to the experience, especially for me. I had no experience with plant medicine and, no experience with any psychedelics or anything like that. So there was learning curve for me of just the basics of what it's all like and how it goes and kind of the raw part of ceremony. But that's what you're there to learn, and lessons about how to participate in ceremony are lessons about life. Lessons about how to work with ayahuasca are lessons about life. And lessons about, I went there and wasn't really sure about what the dieta was all about, and sort of the plant medicine. I dieted abaca when I was there. Didn't have a lot of expectation around it, but was actually very surprised at how noticeable and big a part of the experience it was. It was just sort of a hug when I needed it. And it was pretty amazing how sensitive your body gets with the dietary restrictions and those kinds of things, that, something as simple as abaca, which is basil, and sort of just a steeped tea of basil, was something that you can it really can put you into a trance for a little while of just this very pleasant feeling. And it's very subtle sometimes and not other times, but that was another just big surprise that, when you let your body get really sensitive and you put yourself in a place where you're listening to your body, you can have some very, relatively strong experiences from things that you would not think you would. So there was, it was just a tremendous amount of learning about the process and the plants and all of, kind of everything that the maestros are such experts in. But it's all about you getting a good space and process to dig into yourself a lot deeper, and in some pretty surprising ways. But I think that the best description I have of it, and is kind of that, we're all trying to listen to ourselves in some way, and it's really quiet and subtle compared to what the regular world sort of trains us to be in tune with, which is all the highest noises, all the news, everything is the most filtered 99.9th percentile excitement, everything. And so all the little quiet, subtle stuff just, we forget how to listen to it, things that come from within us. And so it's like with the dietary restrictions and the very simple diet and the things that you're putting in your system, you kind of quiet the noise on the inside, and you go to this retreat and you go to the jungle and you go to this place where you're really quieting the things on the outside. And so you're really trying to quiet things down. And then that signal from inside that you're trying to pick up on, the ayahuasca is what can really like turn that signal up. So it's like if regular life is trying to listen to this really quiet signal amongst a bunch of noise, it's this really amazing process of how to turn the noise down and turn the signal up. And what you learn from that is that's what it is to me as an engineer, is a signal to noise thing. But I think, it's like, it's a hard thing to do, to really listen to stuff that we get trained out of and learn not to listen to, and listen to all the other things and all the other noise. And it's really just this amazing process of turn the noise inside down, turn the noise outside down. And then in ceremony, we turn the signal from the inside up, and some pretty cool stuff goes on.
What a beautiful description. I've never heard that one, but I totally resonate with that. Yeah, it was so amazing for all of us, me and Elon and Leah and Wesley. Pretty much every day we'd chat, and every day we'd be like, wow, it is so amazing to watch Jesse's process. Like, he's in such a good track, and it was just so profound and so beautiful to watch and to support. And if you're willing, would love to hear a little bit more about your personal process and the process of healing, or kind of what maybe your intentions were going down there, and then what ended up actually kind of resulting from that. And then also, how do you feel like the maestros and the diet supported in that healing process?
And thank you for the kind words. It did not feel like that as I was going through it, for sure. I felt like I was on it. My process was, I was getting tidbits and I was getting stuff, but I felt very much like I was kind of dragging my way through it and sort of chasing after it, and like didn't realize that a lot of the difficulty of it was the point, and was actually very necessary to get what was certainly a culmination at the end. My process was, to start with, you were kind of asked, what's your intention? And I, mine was really about disconnection from myself, disconnection from others, and disconnection with sort of love as just a feeling, that I have been very aware of for a long time, but not sure what to do with. And I've made a lot of progress, but there's always more to progress, and I still have a long way to go. But I kind of went there with that intention. It was really about reconnecting with things in me and things with others. Definitely the early part of the process, 2-week retreat, 8 ceremonies. And I definitely found there was sort of a clock in my head of sort of how many ceremonies I have and how far through I am. And my first ceremony, I felt very, very little. Nothing, honestly, initially, which was, trying to tell myself it's okay, but it was frustrating. And fortunately, towards the end of ceremony, when I kind of went to sleep and that sort of thing, I really did get a good experience out of it. I won't go play by play every ceremony every week. I certainly could. It was quite a process, but it really started with a lot of just sort of like, how do I get out of my own way to not be blocked, and to I guess work with the ayahuasca more. I kind of wanted more to come on through a lot of it. And it was, but it was that process of trying to figure out how not to be in my own way about it that was so much of the lessons I was getting, about, when I'm, you're sitting there in ceremony and it's sort of, you don't really like what you're feeling, or you're not getting where you want to get to. It's like, it's such an analog for so much of like regular life, right? It's just sort of this dull sense of like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And like, you really don't have a choice but to sort of sit there and figure out, well, what role do I play in this? you get to some really amazing places, but you have to figure out how to, the big things that kind of kept coming up for me as lessons were humility, gratitude, faith. These are the things that a lot of the maestros talk about and help with. And every time that I kind of felt like I wasn't going the right place, or something wasn't happening how it was supposed to happen, the staff was amazing. There was, I felt like I was always a conversation or two away from to sort of steering somewhere more helpful, where my inclination might be to get more negative and not understand it and that sort of thing. And there's just really, really awesome conversations that was always freely able to have with the facilitators to kind of reframe it, talk it out, realize it's not just me, realize it's actually what everyone goes through, and feel better about that and work through. Definitely, they say there's a beginning and a middle and an end to it. There's, there is sort of a curve to your process that's based on how long you'll be there, in a way. And I certainly had that. I had sort of bit of a struggle intermixed with some really great stuff early on. A very tough middle, which had a lot of lessons about how to listen to myself and not tell stories and that sort of thing. And really sort of, towards the end of my process, there was just sort of a, like, you get stripped down of all your expectations, and you get stripped down of everything that you think you should be getting. And it really sort of took all of that to go into kind of the last couple of ceremonies in a place of really not just more than, I just have my intention. I'm going to sort of repeat what my intention is. I'm able to go into ceremony not feeling great and not be all noisy about that, and not try and change it and not fight with it. And just, it kind of took all of that to sort of crack me open, get me more open-minded, change my ideas about what faith even means. A lot of things that I just sort of said, that's not for me. I certainly would have considered myself an open-minded person, but this really taught me how much more open we can all be, how narrow our kind of regular world tries to make us. And it really ended in a ceremony that was just like an absolutely transcendent experience. What I went there for was to sort of reconnect with the raw material of love. That is certainly what happened, and more. Just some stuff that you hear people say about being connected. All of us connected with an energy that's outside of us, connected with an energy that connects all of us. And that all sounds good, and might have said that sounds great, but to understand how literal that is and how real that is, in a way that you can't possibly deny. I mean, when you experience it for yourself, and I think really the only way to really understand it is to experience it for yourself. It just opens you in an amazing way to stuff that I didn't know I could feel that, but that's why I went there, I guess. So, I mean, just really amazing, awesome things, but by no means feeling like I got to the top of the hill. Here I am, very much like first, in some ways it was like this really big transcendent thing for me, but then also I felt like just the first baby steps into stuff that a lot of these people around me that are more experienced know exactly what this is, and I'm kind of just getting it for the first time. So yeah, it was awesome. It was difficult. It was up, it was down. But it was like, I don't know how you can go into that process so long as your intention is like, I want to understand myself better. I want, if your intentions are good, you're there for the right reasons, which, you're there to help yourself. You're there to connect with deeper things, bigger things. You can go there. It's going to be intense. You're going to fall. You're going to have bad days, but it's like, if you do keep at it, like, there's no doubt that you're going to get something, and probably a lot.
So beautiful. You gave me goosebumps when you're talking about that last ceremony. I think that, yeah, like you said, there's these moments with the medicine that are just so beyond what we could ever describe with words, and so connective and just so life-changing. And like I said, it really was really beautiful for me and Wesley and Leah and Elon, because in watching you experience that for the first time, we all got like another shot of like, oh yeah, like remember that, like remember the first time that you feel that. And it's not like, for me at least, I don't feel that every ceremony. I don't even feel that every 10 ceremonies. Like I don't even know. It's not all the time, but when you do drop into that space of just utter connectivity, oneness with all of the immense, and the immensity of creation and of the universe, it's a beautiful thing for the human soul to experience that, and it leaves it imprinted for forever. Like I can feel it when you're talking about it. Like that's a nugget that you're gonna have for the rest of your life, and it's just such a beautiful thing. So, thank you so much for sharing about your experience. I think you hit basically all of my questions. The only last one is, how did Caya Shobo feel in terms of like the facilities and also the staff? Like, were you physically comfortable? You felt good? Was it beautiful? Was it ugly? If you could just like speak super briefly about how it felt to be at the center, not in terms of like the ceremonies and all that, but just like how did it feel to be? Was it a good landing pad?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it there. I had my own little tambo, which was just a great place to be. I think it's set up exactly for this process. There's a communal place you can go if you want to have a communal place. The Comedor is awesome. You're never inside, you're never outside in a way, because there's no walls. It's mostly just bug netting. You know, you're out. You're going to be out there in nature, whether you have a roof over your head or not. The Maloka is just a beautiful, powerful place. It's just really, really well set up for exactly what it is. It's far enough away out there that you're not, there's just not a lot of bother. Everyone that's there is there for that reason. The facilitators are amazing. The facilities were really good. I know that I'm by no means done on this path. And we'll be going back, and I don't have any question about where I'm going back to. I'm definitely going back to Caya Shobo. The people, the place, it's just sort of like, I don't need to keep hunting around. Like, this is it. I plan to have find a few little pockets a little closer to me where I can do some in-betweens, and kind of reconnect with Madre. But for the longer stints, I plan to be there. I hope to make this annual. I certainly will be there beginning of next year. Wild horses couldn't keep me away from that one. Going back to Caya Shobo, you know what I mean? Like I to go there and meet a lot of people that are a lot farther down the journey than me. I have a lot of trust and faith in, and who are like, yeah, this is the spot, man. And it's just sort of, it's pretty easy to believe that, because it's just like, I'll be going back. I'm a big fan. I'm a convert.
Nice. Amazing. Well, thanks again for sharing, and thanks for sharing about your process. And yeah, excited to see you there at the beginning of next year. I'll probably be down there as well.
Woo-hoo.
All right. So